We've heard a lot about NATO expansion, but Donald Trump is talking about NATO reduction, about kicking out member countries from the alliance, specifically Spain. The statement was made on Thursday at the White House. Trump was hosting fellow NATO member Finland, and both leaders were discussing the alliance's new defense spending target. Trump complained that Spain was not adhering to it. So he floated a radical idea. Why not throw them out?
We had one laggard. It was Spain. Spain. You have to call them and find why are they a laggard. And they're doing well, too. You know, the funny thing, because of a lot of the things we've done, they're doing fine. They have no excuse not to do this, but that's all right. Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly.
I know this raises multiple questions, like what is the spending target? Why isn't Spain following it? And can Trump remove Spain from NATO? Let's answer these questions. Now first, what is the spending target? Every country has a dedicated military budget. This is often calculated as a percentage of national GDP. Before Trump, this spending was 2%, meaning that NATO members had to spend 2% of their GDP on defense. But Trump wanted to raise it to 5%. In June, when the alliance met, this was on top of the agenda. Most NATO allies were open to the idea. A, to appease Trump, and B, to defend against Russia. But Spain was not. In the end, NATO agreed to bump up spending to 5%. But Spain resisted. Their Prime Minister claimed that he had opted out.
We understand the difficulty of the geopolitical context. We fully respect, of course, the legitimate desire of other countries to increase their investment in defense, if they so wish, but we are not going to do so.
This claim was contested even then. The NATO chief had said that no country can opt out. Trump himself shot a warning to Spain. He threatened to make them pay.
What we're going to do, we're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that.
NATO has no opt-outs. And NATO doesn't know side deals or side deals. So that's on the particular question you ask about Spain. What all allies will do is that, of course, they have the sovereign right and also the flexibility to determine their path for delivering on the NATO commitments.
Which brings us to present day. Why is Spain refusing to spend 5% on defense? Their Prime Minister explained his position in a letter back in June. For starters, to spend 5%, Spain will have to raise taxes on the middle class. It would also have to cut spending elsewhere, like on green transition and foreign aid. The Prime Minister also raised concerns about defense deals. A 5% spending would require Spain to buy weapons from outside, and this would hurt the country's domestic industry. Beyond these reasons, there is also politics. Spain has a left-leaning government. Some of the coalition parties oppose higher military spending. They would much rather spend on welfare measures. Now, all of these reasons explain Spain's reluctance, which raises the final question. Can Trump throw Spain out of NATO? Now, a lot of multilateral treaties do offer exit clauses. For example, you can leave the United Nations and its allied organizations. The exit is built into the treaty. But NATO is different. There is no clause to remove or suspend a member. This was discussed in 2019 as well. Back then, the question mark was over Turkey. The country had purchased Russian air defense missiles, so some US politicians wanted to kick Turkey out. Even then, experts said the same thing. You can't. Legally, there is no way to remove a NATO member. They can quit themselves, but they can't be kicked out. The clause on quitting is mentioned in Article 13 of NATO's founding treaty. It requires a member to give notice of its intention. This notice must be submitted to the United States government. The US will then inform all other members. 1 year after submitting this notice, the member will be out. No voting or veto. If a member wants to, they can quit. But Spain has no such plans. In fact, the government has reaffirmed its commitment to NATO. As for the 5% target, it's not budging. Within the country, this has triggered some controversy. The opposition has seized this issue. They say the problem isn't Spain. The problem is Spain's ruling party and Prime Minister. As for Trump, this is a crusade. He feels other NATO members are taking the US for a ride. Now, even in his first term, he had forced his allies to raise defense spending. And his complaint about Spain is old. After taking office, the president turned his gun on Madrid. But in a moment of confusion, he said that Spain was a part of the BRICS bloc.
And yet, are they a BRICS nation? What? They're a BRICS nation, Spain. Okay. You know what a BRICS nation is? You'll figure it out.
Confusion aside, the message is clear. Spain has been on Trump's radar for some time. They will either have to raise defense spending or appease Trump in some other way, because there may not be a legal way to remove Spain from NATO. But for all practical purposes, the US can isolate them.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.